Hey, I'm on the way back home from South Texas. I spent yesterday evening and this morning looking at a tract that our investor group has, and it's on the market. It's only it's 160 odd acres, but we're just getting the plans in place for some improvements we're going to do on it. Those of you that know me, you've seen some of my videos or read any of the books, you know that I'm big on making improvements on properties where it makes sense, and that where it makes sense is the big part of it. It's one thing to do improvements on 16 acres and then doing improvements on 160 acres. The cost can get spread out across more acres and can make it easier to justify and to not only recover the money you spend on the improvements, but to actually make money on that money you spend on improvements. It's one thing just to get your money back. It's another thing to invest money and make a return on that. So that's what we try to do, is not only get our money back, of course, but to actually make money on that extra investment. This particular tract has got a little lake on it. It's got a pine plantation on it. It's got a pretty good sized bottom in it, a couple of creeks, actually a spring-fed creek that runs along the edge of the lake, and it's got great access. So it's a cool property. So doing some improvements on a place like this is going to help it sell faster and definitely command a higher price per acre. What we're doing is what we met with the guys this morning and got a guy that's going to do some mulching work got him lined out. He's actually one of our RecLand agents in Southeast Texas, but he also has a little land improvement service on the side, and he's going to be operating a big skid steer, a mulcher head, and a side-mounted mower. And those two items right there are going to do a ton of work on this tract. He's opening up a lot of the existing trails with that mulcher, making them wider, cleaning them out good so that we can I drove my truck down there this morning over part of the road that he had already cleaned out, and he's going to continue doing that on some other trails to make it easier to get around with four-wheelers and just make the track accessible in places that you can't get to now. He's going to clean out around that lake with that side-mounted big mower. And reach down around the banks and clean off a lot of that old brush that's just been growing for years. Beautiful little lake, but you got to be able to get to it and see it. And he's going to make that happen. One of the biggest things he's going to do on it, though, is getting us a crossing on this spring-fed creek. It's a running creek there, and it's got a hard sand bottom, but it's just not a good crossing for a four-wheeler. And so we're going to get a couple of loads of big rock. When I say big, it's going to be that 3-5 inch rock, and we're going to make a crossing in there, shallow water crossing, which means the creek is still going to run over the rock, but it'll have that good big rock base that you could drive a four-wheeler back and forth across there anytime. Assuming the creek's not full of water, but most of the time you'll be able to drive across that. That rock will also firm up the banks going in and out of the creek where it's just kind of seepy, wet, and nasty. That'll firm that up so that it's a nice crossing. That's going to make getting around this track so much easier. Make a person be able to drive their four-wheeler up on the levee of that lake. The lake will be opened up on those banks there, so it'll just be drop dead gorgeous. But then be able to drive around the lake to go up on the ridge on the other side in those open trails to be able to get to a big food plot area, some deer stands up there. So this little bit of work is going to cost, I'm not putting a hard number on it, but it's going to cost several $1,000s. But spreading that out over 160 odd acres is not that much. But the bang we're going to get for that buck on this track is going to be huge. So it's worth doing that. I'm always trying to encourage people to improve their track when they put it on the market. Certain things that just make sense to do. We've got experience, and we can tell people, hey, this will work for you. This is good bang for its buck. This is not. And, makes a big difference when you can take that information from experienced people who are used to doing it, used to spending their own money doing it, and so they know what works, what doesn't, and improve your own track before you put it on the market. Makes a world of difference, not only in the amount that you can get for it, but a lot of times how quickly the track sells. If you can't get around on a track, if your land agent can't show it properly because he can't get two big chunks of it, people are going to be turned off by that, and it's just not going to sell typically as quickly as it would a place that you can drive all over it and it's gorgeous, and the buyers can, ooh and ah over the pretty spots because they can get to it. So anyway, I'll try to edit some pictures in here and show you some of the improvements we've made, so you can kind of put some images with some of the stuff I've talked about, and maybe get some ideas to help you on your track. Bye.